welcome to Tyler's Italian Kitchen. And on today's episode, I'm going to show you how I make my focaccia bread with my favorite pesto spread. Now, to make this focaccia, we need 2.5 teaspoons of yeast, a teaspoon of sugar, a quarter cup of warm water. That's for our little pre-ferment. Then we're going to need quarter cup of sourdough starter. If you don't have sourdough starter, you don't have to put it. This is an optional. I like to add it because it gives it an extra flavor. 2 cups warm water, 2.5 teaspoons of salt, 2 tablespoons of Crisco, which is the soup spoons we use it, 2 tablespoons of good olive oil, 2.5 cups all-purpose flour, and 3 cups of bread flour. And I'm going to show you what to do first. Now we're quarter cup of warm water. We're going to add the yeast and the sugar, which is the food for the yeast. And now we're just going to mix it. Mix it very well. Then I'm just going to cover it and let it rise for 5 to 7 minutes until it doubles in size. Now, as you can see, our yeast mixture has more than doubled in size. That means the yeast is good. So first we're going to do is we're going to put the sourdough starter into the warm water. If you don't have the starter, you can skip this step. Then I'm just going to use my little fork. Get it all mixed in there in the water. And now I have both types of flours in here. I'm going to add it to the salt. And just with my dough hook, I'm just gonna give it a mix. Okay, then flour into the mixer. Now my 2 tablespoons of Crisco. The Crisco will give the focaccia crispiness. Okay, now I can add in my yeast. And we're gonna start to mix the dough with the paddle attachment just until it forms a ball. Now we're gonna add in the 2 tablespoons of olive oil. One. Two. All right. Then I'm gonna add in all my water. Now we're gonna put it on low speed until it starts forming into a ball. Okay. Now I'm gonna take out the paddle. And as you can see how it's all mixed in there. Now I'm gonna change from the paddle to the dough hook. And this consistency of this dough should be nice, smooth, elastic, and just a little bit of stickiness. If it's too dry, just add a little more water. If it's way too sticky, add a little more flour. But now we're gonna mix it with the dough hook for 5 to 7 minutes. 7 minutes on the low to medium speed. And when it's done kneading, I'll show you the next one. All right, now it has been 7 minutes, and as you can see, as I pull the hook up, you can see how elastic, smooth the dough is. So I just think it is a tad sticky, so I'm gonna add a little flours to my board. You know me, I like to do some hand kneading. And usually focaccia is a sticky dough, so do not be intimidated. If you think, oh, I think I added too much water, no. Get some flour. as you can see how soft, light it is. This is how it should be. Smooth, soft, it's pliable. If it was way too sticky, it would have sticked quickly. See? Just a few hand kneading. Going to add some olive oil to not stick. Okay. Then just a little towel, get it all over the place. There you go, as you can see. What I like to do in this part, I like to just knead it. And then put the seam side down. And now it's gonna rest here 45 minutes to an hour until it doubles in size. Okay, once we put it in a bowl, just gonna add some nice and tight. Because if we don't cover it tightly, what will happen is, as it rises, it's going to form a skin, and you do not want that in your focaccia. Now, while the bread is 15 minutes left of rising, I am going to make one of the toppings for the focaccia. So I have here about one small onion cut into half rounds, thinly sliced. Then to that I'm going to add about a pint of cherry or grape tomatoes, cut in half. Then we're going to drizzle it with olive oil, a couple tablespoons. Then we mix. See, double in size, and usually you can tell if you put your finger like this and it goes down, that means it is ready. So now I have here two 8 by 8 inch pans, but traditionally I just do it in a 12 by 16 pan. But because I'm gonna do two types of focaccia, an onion and tomato, and an olive and rosemary. Some olive oil in my pans. Generous amount. Then with my pastry brush, just get it all over the sides. I wanted to divide this up. Just gonna add a little olive oil to my hands, because this bread is sticky, so just gonna divide it in half. If you want to be precise and want to weigh out the dough, you absolutely can. I will just eyeball it just for the sake of time. Maybe just add a little more here. Now, with more oil right on top, because the olive oil is gonna get crispy as a base. So now you're just gonna push it all the way to the corners. Now, if you see that the bread, the focaccia bread, is not pushing up, just recover it, let it sit for 5 minutes, then restretch it. Type of person that likes my focaccia kind of on the thinner side, almost like a pizza, but not that thin. I've tried the ones that are way thicker, and to me that's not a focaccia. A focaccia for me is thin like this. It's been a couple minutes. The marinade of my tomato and onion, that's what I'm going to put on my first one. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to squeeze the tomato so it gets its juice to the dough. Now, for the second one, I like to do rosemary and Kalamata olives. And I like that combination because you get the saltiness and the juiciness from the olives, and you get the fresh aroma from the rosemary. So now I'm just gonna grab a couple pitted olives, and I like to leave them whole. Okay, now it's gonna, I have a trick. So how they are pointing up like this, I take from the top and I go down. And it mostly gives me all the rosemary thing. And if you can smell it, the aroma from this rosemary is out of this world. And there is many different toppings you can do to your focaccia. You got these two, for example. You can just do a plain with with salt. With just salt, you can add maybe chorizo or linguiça moída on top of it. You can add chives, whatever you like. It is your own creativity. Now, these here are gonna rest until they're doubled in size. So as you can see here, it has been 25-30 minutes. It has almost doubled in size. So now it's gonna go in the oven at 425 for 20 minutes. Then after the 20 minutes, rotate it for another 10 to 15 minutes or until golden brown. Now, what I also like to add as well is a little bit of peperoncino. That gives it that nice little kick. So I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit on top. Gives a nice little kick. And also you can add oregano. Love oregano on my focaccia. And then I've been obsessed lately with this seasoning called is vegetable seasoning. If you don't have vegetable seasoning, you don't have to put it, but I love it. It gives it this extra flavor. Now into the oven it goes. Now for the pesto, I'm going to put it in my food processor. 3 ounces of fresh basil. Okay, I'm going to put it on the... Okay, after it's chopped fine like that, you're going to add in 2 garlic cloves. If you like more garlicky, you can add more, but I think for me 2 is enough. And blitz that through. Okay. So far is well chopped. Now I'm gonna add in the pine nuts, which I'm gonna start with 3 tablespoons, which is the soup spoons that we eat. This is sometimes the measurements I use it is the Portuguese soup spoons. We're gonna try with 1, 2, and at the same time we're gonna add the cheese. 2 tablespoons of Parmigiano cheese, nice and full, and 2 tablespoons of Pecorino Romano. Now I'm gonna re-blitz this. Now I'm gonna slowly drizzle in the olive oil. I'm gonna start with 1/4 cup. If I see it's too thick, I can add more. This all depends on the consistency of the pesto you like it. All right, let me check. That is about right. That's how I like it. Cannellini beans. So I'm adding 1 cup of cannellini beans. This will give it a creamy and a light green color. Add a little more olive oil. You add as much as you want, depending on your on how you like your consistency. Now, as you can see how nice and light green it came out. That's how I love pesto. Now, as you can see here, the focaccias are all done baking. Now, I'm gonna take the onion and tomato focaccia. And as you can see, golden brown in the bottom. Now, I'm gonna slice. When you take it out of the oven, let it cool for at least 5 to 10 minutes so that you don't cut it completely hot. Because then what will happen is the friction of you cutting into the focaccia it's going to become dense and gummy because you're pressing force into a hot dough. So do be aware of that. So now I'm going to cut it down here to the center. Oh, look how beautiful. How airy, how has little pockets of air, the little holes, and it's a nice soft bread. Now, how should I cut this? I think I'm gonna get the end piece here. And if you can hear it, that little crunchy noise, that is a good focaccia. Okay. I'm only gonna have a slither. And now I think I'm gonna have a little bit of our pesto that we made earlier right on top. And this, my friends, is an open sandwich. Now I'm going to test it for you. Very delicious. I really do hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and share it with your family and friends. Now, I am going to invite you, and as the Italians say, tutti a tavola a mangiare e bere. And until next time.